Iran has launched 10 missiles targeting U.S. bases in Qatar. Reuters, citing diplomatic sources, said the Al Udeid air base operated by the U.S. in Qatar has been facing an Iranian threat since midday today. Axios reported that Trump is meeting with his national security team to discuss Iranian threats of retaliation over the strikes on nuclear facilities.
الله أكبر.
And NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte has said the recent U.S. strikes on Iran do not constitute a breach of international law. Rutte emphasized that the U.S. strikes on Iran do not violate international law. He also reiterated NATO's unified stance on Tehran's nuclear ambitions, stating that allies have long agreed Iran must not develop nuclear weapons.
Having these stockpiles, that we can deter aggression from any threat. Really, let's focus on the essentials here. My biggest fear would be for Iran.
Iran's state television reported that authorities have seized a truck carrying a large number of suicide drones and arrested an agent of the Israeli Mossad west of Tehran. The IRGC's public relations office in Lurstan stated that the detainees had attempted to undermine national unity through their activities in cyberspace. The Israeli Occupation Army has confirmed that it carried out airstrikes on Fordow nuclear sites in an effort to disrupt access routes to the facility. Earlier, Iranian local officials also stated that Israel had attacked the Fordow nuclear site, according to reports by the Iranian state media. Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz said that the attacks on symbols of the Iranian regime come in response to every shot fired at Israel's home front. He explained that the targets include the Basij headquarters, a militia often used by the Iranian government to suppress protests, as well as Evin prison, where political prisoners and enemies of the regime are held. The Israeli Minister of Energy announced that 8,000 homes in Ashdod lost power following the Iranian rocket strikes. Israel's Electric Corporation had earlier reported that a strategic facility belonging to the company in southern Israel was hit, noting disruptions in electricity supplies after a rocket landed near the facility in southern Israel. The Wall Street Journal, citing Israeli and Arab sources, reported that Israel is interested in ending the war in Iran soon, taking advantage of the recent U.S. strikes on key nuclear sites in Iran. The paper stated that Israel expects to complete its list of military targets in Iran within the coming days. However, the situation remains volatile and much will depend on Iran's response to the strikes. Iran's parliament speaker Mohammad Baghir Ghalibaf has announced that lawmakers are preparing a bill to suspend cooperation with the International Atomic Energy Agency, the IAEA. Iran's parliament is moving to approve legislation that would suspend the country's cooperation with the International Atomic Energy Agency, the IAEA, unless it receives firm assurance of impartial and professional conduct from the UN nuclear watchdog. The IAEA reported in late May that Iran has amassed enough uranium enriched to 60% purity, technically sufficient, if further enriched, for up to 9 nuclear weapons. Iran's Defense Minister Amir Hatami has declared that every American in Iran has been met with a decisive response, and this time will be no difference. Hatami said such actions are nothing new in Iran's history, citing past conflicts including the 1979 revolution and the Iran-Iraq war. He emphasized Iran's determination to fight for victory, viewing martyrdom as a blessing but focusing on winning the conflict. Iran also stated that the recent U.S. attacks have broadened the scope of legitimate targets for its military, while criticizing President Donald Trump as a gambler for aligning with Israel in the ongoing campaign. The Israeli army announced that it had targeted command centers and assets belonging to the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps and the Internet Security Forces in Tehran. In a statement, the army said that under precise guidance from the Intelligence Directorate, warplanes carried out airstrikes on command centers and facilities affiliated with the Internal Security Forces and the Revolutionary Guard Corps in Tehran.